Good to see everybody this morning. Let's take a few minutes of your time. Revoultion Church, planted out of St. Paul United Methodist Church in Louisville. We very much appreciate Gary Gibson and his willingness to risk and grow the kingdom in that way. And so about June 20th was our first worship gathering. We had our first one then. We continue to grow. We're looking to reach new people in the demographic of 18 through 50. And a lot of what Bishop Davis has shared this morning is, it fits very much with our community, and that we find a lot of people who will claim to be Christians, and yet when you ask them what church they're a part of and how often they go, typically the answer is Christmas and Easter, when I feel like it, or once a month or less. And I guess our feeling is if you're going once a month or less, you're really not plugged in. And so that's really our sweet spot. Those are the folks that we have a great deal of connectivity with, folks who we feel like we can plug them into our community pretty readily and get them serving and get them involved in a small group and this kind of thing. So maybe a couple success stories I can share with you to embody what our community is seeking to do. We had a lady who came last week. It was the first time she had been to church in 20 years. And part of our teaching concerned a story that I shared. I had the unfortunate opportunity, or I don't know if you call it that, but I had to bury a 6-year-old child. Probably one of the worst things I've ever had to do in ministry. And I did not want to be a pastor that day. And my experience of doing that funeral was after all of the other pastors got up and talked about the sovereignty of God and all of this other kind of stuff. My opening words were, "This stinks," and tried to unfold it from there. And she came up to me afterwards and she said, "Brian, you know, I stopped going to church 20 years ago, and the reason was I had to bury my son. And all I heard about was the sovereignty of God. And this is the first time somebody's told me this stinks." And so that, I thought, was a pretty powerful moment for our congregation. It was really neat to watch the way that the folks loved on her, and she's getting plugged in as well. Another good success story I might share with you is that we have a guy who is probably somewhere in his 60s. He has a small group that meets at a bar. I had to convince him this was okay to do. And his group is ready to divide, and they're training new leadership, and they meet on Friday nights, and people are really interested in what is this whole Christian thing you're doing in the middle of a bar? How does that work? So we're really excited. We really appreciate the conference's support, appreciate NCCD and the bishop and our district superintendent, and thanks for your time this morning.